Hello there, and welcome back to Legends with Derka. This week was a big week for Legends with the introduction of aircraft carriers after a 2-year wait. They're currently only in a test event called Airstrike and can be unlocked after a few relatively easy tasks. You will mostly be playing against AI in the event as Wargaming garners data from the test. I think so far the carriers have been well received by the community as everyone is learning how to correctly use them and how to play against them. For the purpose of this video, I wanted to point out that this is the limited time mode Airstrike. If you are watching this at a later date, please keep that in mind. Also, I think the purpose of this game mode, besides gathering data, is for us the players to get good at carrier basics, including piloting planes, aiming your attack runs, and other very general things. Don't get too caught up on things such as carrier roles with spotting and destroyer hunting. Just enjoy the mode for what it is and start honing your most basic of skills. Moving on. This week we have 2 carriers to look at, the Langley and the Hosho. Both carriers come equipped with dive bombers as well as torpedo bombers, and the controls are relatively straightforward. The best advice I could give is just to keep playing them to get the hang of it. Since there really wasn't much of a tutorial, I thought I'd point a few things out that weren't so obvious, so here are 5 tips to improve your carrier experience. Before you launch your first plane, you need to decide where to position your ship. With preservation of your carrier in mind, it might make sense to put it into full reverse, but this lengthens how long it takes to get your planes into the area to help your team. If you are positioned a little closer, you can effectively get planes into the fight faster. I found that at the beginning of a game, putting the carrier at a quarter to half speed forward seems to be okay depending on what map you're playing on. After your first couple of squadrons, evaluate enemy ship positions and retreat if you need to. When choosing what plane to launch first, think about what targets you're going to be engaging. Currently, torpedo bombers are easier to use and get the hang of. They work well against anything that is giving you a flat broadside, but you will have difficulty hitting destroyers at speed or who are maneuvering. Dive bombers come equipped with armor-piercing bombs. They are good against heavily armored targets and have a high chance of setting fires. They will work great against large lumbering battleships and carriers. Torpedo bombers will do better if you're approaching the broadside of your target. When initiating your attack run, pay attention to the meters on the right of the reticle. When dropping torpedoes, it takes 5 seconds to drop down into attack position after clicking the right trigger button. You can stay in this attack position for 15 seconds while lining up your shots before you have to actually drop your torps. The longer you take to line up your shot, the better, with aggressive maneuvering cutting your accuracy. Afterwards, there's a 5-second cooldown before you can initiate another attack run. It's best to aim for the front or the back of battleships to try to miss the torpedo belt so you can do more damage. Dive bombers are easier to aim when approaching the enemy from the bow or stern. Your attack durations are shorter than torpedo bombers, giving you less time and making your initial lineup more important. Upon initiating your attack, you will basically have 6 seconds to drop your bombs. Be sure to lead your targets well, as bombs take time to drop. After an attack run, there's a latency period before you can attack again. If the enemy ship is coming towards you, launch your attack earlier, and if they are moving away, try to wait a little longer. Also keep in mind that the later you drop the bombs, the better, as there's RNG, just like your shells. The last tip I wanted to point out was how devastating anti-aircraft fire can be. If you have the option, stay away from large groups of enemy ships and focus on single ships. The longer you are in range of a large force of enemy ships, the enemy anti-aircraft will whittle your planes down. It's also going to become really important to know which ships have good anti-aircraft capabilities and which do not. For instance, cruisers in general have strong AA, especially American light cruisers. Other ships to watch out for at these tiers would be USS Texas, the British Orion, Cruiser Emerald, and Aegean Yahagi. Knowing which ships can shred your aircraft will go a long way in your success as a carrier captain. Overall, I'm curious what you guys think about the new carriers. And also, if you have any tips or tricks to pass on to new players, please leave them in the comments below. Do you guys think carriers are weak in their current state? And if so, should they stay weak? Well, look forward to what you guys have to say, and I will see you in the next video.